From the Bronx at Fordham University, this is the CHSAA Intersectional Semifinal. And boy, we get a good one with the two reigning champions of this very same tournament. Stepinac, the champs last year, and Federation champions, facing off with Cardinal Hayes, who come in at 23-5 and just 2 years removed from their crown. Hi everybody, Dan Savarino with you this evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Amanda Puglisi will join us soon. Well, Christ the King already is going to the championship game this upcoming Sunday. Who do they face? It's one of these two teams. And boy, even though the tail of the tape may not show exactly what the seasons they have had, Cardinal Hayes has had themselves a very consistent season, 23-5 overall, Archdiocesan champions. But meanwhile, Archbishop Stepinac, the tale for them has been injuries and more injuries, but they're back. They're healthy. They've won 10 of their last 13 games, and they get ready for another showdown with a team that has generally had their number for a while, despite two big wins last year. Let's take a look at some of our key players for today, and there are some good ones on both sides. RJ and AJ for Stepinac. RJ Davis coming back also from injury, averaging 25 points a game. And then AJ Griffin, another five-star recruit we're watching this evening. One of the top 12 per the national rankings in terms of his entire class. And on the other side, Joe Toussaint, who is the player of the year, but maybe nobody's scarier than Jalen Murray when scoring the basketball as of late. That was the big concern for Stepinac going into it. So we come back, the starting lineup and the opening tip, a trip to the city championship at the hospital for special surgery. Game of the week. Stay with us. Stepinac, Cardinal Hayes from Fordham. A jam-packed Rose Hill Gymnasium on the campus of Fordham University. Archbishop Stepinac, Cardinal Hayes here for the second of two semifinals on News 12 Varsity. Well, Amanda Puglisi will be roaming those sidelines all evening long. Here she is.
Well, Dan, for this Stepinac team, it wasn't so much as how they started, but how they're finishing this playoff run. And when you talk to Coach Massaroni, he's the first one to tell you we're another team in the Catholic League that really, we were struggling because of injuries all season long. And really, he says we weren't healthy the first few times that we played Cardinals Hayes. The injuries, though, have allowed other players to step up, players like Matt Brand and Luke Fizlich, who we'll see tonight. But of course, the player to watch, as always, is AJ Griffin. But when I asked Coach Lodes of Cardinal Hayes, how do you combat a player like that? He said to me, can you really even try to come up with a game plan for him? You can. He said, what this game comes down to is, this game all comes down to just 5 guys on the floor for me and my team, just really going out and playing harder and playing longer than Stepinac.
Let's take a look at our starting lineup first for the visitors in Stepinac. Some usual guys out there, and that is a very young group of players. 3 juniors, 2 sophomores, but still a few who have experience and some others who have stepped up drastically over the last course of this season. Meanwhile, Christ the King has some guys who also have some of that experience as well. Excuse me, Cardinal Hayes still has some of that experience as well. And Cardinal Hayes starting lineup of Adam Cisse, Joe Toussaint, Julian Somaro, Jalen Murray, and Jalen Smith will be the 5 out there for the guys who are wearing the gold uniforms with the red numbers. Joe Lodes, a St. Francis Prep graduate of '93, took over for Tom Murray 12 years ago. Brought them their first city title since 1990. That was just 2 years ago. Has won 3 Archdiocesan championships in the last 6 years. That includes their last one. To take a look at this Hayes group overall, a team that has lost just 5 games in total from this lineup that really has not battled injuries too often. The 5 losses by 5 points or less in each. 15 total points in those 5. And we're not talking about a cakewalk schedule. We are talking still about a national schedule, a team that is generally facing the powers of all the CHSAA, as well as other teams from the city and around the country. So big crowd on hand, and expected to have more as they continue to pile in behind us. For this matchup between two teams that are fairly local. Stepinac is just 12 miles away. Cardinal Hayes, their high school located just 7.6 here in the Bronx. How about this number though? Cardinal Hayes having the number over Stepinac. They have won 16 of the last 18 meetings between these two groups. That dates back to the 2010 A-City Championship, which was the last time that Stepinac won before last year's second regular season game, and then eventually the Archdiocesan Championship game, which they were able to win and get their first one in some time. So again, Stepinac will be wearing the blues tops and bottoms trimmed with red and white. They will be going from left to right on your screens. Cardinal Hayes in their golds with the maroon numbers. Fresh 8 minutes on the clock for a second of two semifinals. The winner plays Christ the King this upcoming Sunday at 3 p.m. in this very gym. And there's the player of the year inside of the conference, Joe Toussaint. And the thing that is opposition head coach him, Pat Massaroni, has said, listen, he's doing more than just scoring the basketball. Joe Lodes echoed his statements. He's more than just scoring. He's actually taken a step back here in the playoffs. He has been sharing the ball so well, getting everyone else involved and knowing when he has to take over. Inside Adam Cisse, but he's called for a travel violation. Cisse, the senior, who stands 6 feet 8 inches tall. Stepinac basketball from left to right, and running the point here is R.J. Davis. Lots of interest from high majors, and there are a lot of high majors in attendance this evening. He'll kick it out to the corner for Fizilic, and he buries a three. Fizilic, the unsung hero of this team, especially in 8 of their last 10 wins, played 0 minutes in the first 7 games of the year and is now starting in the intersectional semifinal. Just remarkable to see. An air ball in the other direction, and that will give Stepinac a chance to double their lead. Foul called on the floor as Davis cutting across. It is Joe Toussaint picking up his first. Well, Davis, as well as Adrian A.J. Griffin, they get all the attention for this squad, and well-deserved. But the role players this season for a team that has battled more injuries than they have ever seen, or at least in Pat Massaroni's life he's ever seen. Said he was joking and talking to someone who's pretty high up in the NBA and says, man, you have like 73 different starting lineups this year. How have you guys put it together? It is interesting to see, though, the 4 final teams here. 2 of them battled injuries all year, Christ the King and Stepinac, and the other 2 pretty consistent in Laughlin and Cardinal Hayes, and here they are as the final 4. Samaro and the handoff to Toussaint, pulls back for a 3, front iron, back iron, and the rebound by A.J. Griffin, who has pulled in 14 boards in each of his last 2 games. A 5-star recruit, number 12 in the ESPN class of 2021, and he takes a 6-0 advantage. Cardinal Hayes head coach Joe Lodes telling me, man, you just look at A.J. Griffin. They have not seen him this year. He was injured for the first couple of meetings. Let's say when you just watch A.J. Griffin up close, you would think he is a college basketball player if he came off the bus. If he came off the bus in Fordham clothes for some reason and out to this gym to warm up, you would think that, well, he plays for this team. He doesn't turn 16 until August. Foul goes against Brand. His first, team's first. And that puts Jalen Murray at the stripe, averaging 19 points per game as he misses here the first free throw. Murray, first team selection in the CHSAA this year. Top 5 in scoring. Last year was a big role player coming off the bench and provided some good minutes. But here goes 0 for 2. A rare 0 for 2 start at the stripe. And Stepinac with the basketball as Davis penetrates to the right elbow. Quick ball movement. The pass from Brand to Fizilic for another 3. No good. Popped out, and they're going to say last touched off of Hayes, so it will be Stepinac ball. How did they get here, Stepinac? Well, they knew they would have to end up playing 4 if they wanted to win a CITO title this year. As this pass goes up ahead, Toussaint against A.J. Griffin, and Griffin ends up blocking him away on a one-on-one battle, but stepped out. So back to the Crusaders. They fell in the Archdiocesan semifinal to St. Ray's by 3. Third loss to them this year. And eventually you have to play a first-round game because of it. So they saw St. Peter's. This will be an offensive foul, and Brand just picked up his second. Also the team's second. A 91-80 win against St. Peter's, a team that won 19 games this year. Big second quarter for them. Griffin had 38, 33 from Davis. Vizslic dropped 3 triples in for 13 points in a 3-7 matchup. That got him to the quarterfinals against Zavarian. And as Toussaint is fouled underneath the hoop, he'll shoot a pair of free throws here. And it goes against Griffin. It is his first. And the team's third. A 20-point win against Zavarian, who fell in the BK Diocesan Championship game to Bishop Laughlin. They got up by 1 early, and they were able to connect on some big 3-pointers. Davis had 31 points in that victory. And here they are, back in another Final Four, and up 6-2. Davis from the left elbow. Griffin waits for it as it bounces around the cylinder. Toussaint has the ball up ahead to Murray. Murray to the cup. Too strong. But Davis turns the basketball over in midcourt. Jalen Smith to his right, and now he loses the ball. The rock's in A.J. Griffin's hands. And he'll shoot a pair of free throws. Adam Cisse picks up his first, and the team's second. A.J. Griffin on a team last year that won the city championship, won the Archdiocesan championship, won their very first federation. His brother Alan now at Illinois. Comes from one of the most athletic families that you can really think of. Sister plays at UConn, mom a track star. People say mom is the best athlete of the family. It's a track star at Seton Hall. Dad played in the NBA and now coaches and has been assistant coach, still with the Bulls. And he has tons of offers as just a sophomore, and they're going to keep pouring on. 8-2 lead. Murray is cold, and so is the Hayes shooting in this game. To the basket, Ed Sanchez drops it in. It is an 8-point lead, and Joe Lodes wants to talk it over with a 30-second timeout. Ed Sanchez on the team last year has evolved in his time. Meanwhile, Cardinal Hayes, the group is struggling shooting at the moment, and the transition buckets are coming. Steady Eddie to the rack, who this season averaging just about 7 points per game. They were just 3-12 in their first 15 games of the season. In their last 13, they have won 10 of those. A team that returns 6 players from last year's squad, including the mascot, and another 2 starters. Not sure if it's the same starter from last year. That is TBD. Pat Massaroni, who was a Stepinac guy, graduated in 06, managed for Tim Phillip, who is the associate head coach on the other side. 4th year as a head coach, and he has continued to push the Crusaders to new heights. Murray into the corner. Samaro, 3-pointer, and he's fouled. It is Sanchez who is going to pick up his first. And 3 looks like it's upcoming. Julian Samaro been shooting the ball really well lately, averaging 7 points per game. All the unsung hero of this group. But right now this team is struggling at the stripe. Has already missed 3 of their attempts and 0 for 2 to start. Sometimes some nerves get into this early on. Big crowd, but again, when these teams meet, generally there is a big crowd. He goes 1 for 3 at the stripe, and Hayes is down 7. So kind of similar from what we saw in our last semifinal. The team that won a title struggling early in the first. Here's Matt Brand, who's too strong on a 3-ball. Excuse me, Fizlich, who was too long. Smith weaves in and out. Toussaint catch and shoot from the wing, no good. And Griffin with a carom. Turns it over, back into the hands of the player of the year. Straight to the basket, and that is their first field goal of the game, believe it or not. And it comes with 3:50 remaining here in the first. Sanchez weaves through. Fizlich off the mark on his 3, hit his first, missed his last 2 now. 3-on-2 the other way. Nice bounce pass inside. Murray's short. So time to slowly move it up the floor for the Crusaders, a team that is averaging about 70 points per game and surrendering about 70 per contest. Playing in another national schedule. And some of the teams they have seen this year are some of the best you'll see in the area. Ball will stay with Stepinac with 15 seconds on the shot clock. Long 2-pointer connects. That's A.J. Griffin. So it's a 12-5 lead, and he's got 7 of those 12 here in the first quarter. Crossover move, Sumaro, and can't get the friendly roll. The other way, Davis, stop and pop from 15, denied. Up ahead to Toussaint, takes it to the cup and lays it in. Toussaint, who last year, the Archdiocesan Championship Most Valuable Player, 25 points in the finals. Was also an all-state selection in the 3rd team. First team inside of this league. And this year got himself to Player of the Year honors, and he had a lot of competition. R.J. Davis was one of them. The Champagny twins, another. List can go on and on. Good crossover move as Smith weaves in and out, but he's short as well. Just a real cold start with 2 minutes to go in the first. And Cardinal Hayes will look to their bench at the next stoppage. Sanchez in with the right. He's got 4 points in the early going. Sumaro and now Smith. Cisse cuts inside. No, second chance, no as well. Asking for a call, won't get it. Griffin, catch and shoot from the corner, it's good. Steady Eddie. A 7-point first frame, and the lead is now up to 10. That is what Stepinac has been doing all year long, wins and losses. Guys have continued to evolve, Sanchez being one of them, a 3-year varsity guy. 10 on the timer, 50 on the game clock. Toussaint, no, Cisse, the putback. So Cisse becomes just the 2nd player for the Cardinals to make a basket in this game, believe it or not. Back to 17-9, and there's still a 7-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. So R.J. Davis will run to the corner. Dropped a career-high 41 against Archbishop Malloy late in January. He's been in double figures in 22 of the 26 he has played. Crossover move, feeds it inside, but a blocking foul. It's against Sumaro. His first and the team's 3rd. Foul on the floor. 2 subs for Cardinal Hayes. It is Shamani Fuller as they'll go big. Fuller coming off an 8.7 rebound outing. We also see Brian Adams. Griffin in the lane with 5 seconds to spare. Nice little layup. He's got 9 here in the first. Here's Adams into Toussaint. Three-pointer wouldn't have counted, and that is the end of the first quarter. Stepinac opens up a 10-point lead after 8 minutes of play. It's CHSS Game of the Week with locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Stay with us. More semifinal action on News 12 Varsity. (19-9) is the score. Archbishop Stepinac leading Cardinal Hayes here in this semifinal battle. Again, winner plays Christ the King. They defeated Bishop Laughlin right before. Well, Amanda Puglisi was hanging out by the huddles. AP?
And Dan, Coach Lode's telling his Cardinal Hayes men that, hey, where's our energy, guys? Like, this is a basketball game. We're supposed to be having fun. We're supposed to have energy. We're playing so tight, and Stepinac is out there. They're playing so loose. Our energy level right now, we are not matching Stepinac. And he says we need to do that. We need to start having fun. We need to start playing basketball.
AJ Griffin has continued to play basketball. 11 points now in the game. Joe Toussaint, count the basket. So he will shoot one. Oh, check that. I'm going to say it was on the floor. And that's a correction. You see Pat Massaroni look on. He has brought this team to new heights. And as he said early on this season, we're no longer that team from Westchester anymore. Offensive foul is the call. And it goes against Murray, who picks up his first and already the team's fifth. Check that, the team's fourth. So they'll both sub. And we see Eddie Sanchez back out, along with Malcolm Chimezi. Alpha Benguera Jr. will also get some minutes as Stepinac goes big here. Davis landed awkwardly, helped up by his teammates, but seems to be all right. There's some cricks maybe in that neck. RJ Davis, real special talent to come through this program. Two-time first-team All-League. Last year was the lone underclassman on the first team. And this year was no doubt for first-team honors. Good hard rebound, and Chimezi. Nice little putback, extending the advantage. Sumaro cutting inside, and he gets a two. Cardinal Hayes just 3 of 14 in that first quarter. He also got out-rebounded by 5. And here a bigger lineup for Stepinac, as Griffin will be shooting a pair of free throws upcoming. Now we're talking to Pat Massaroni just about what AJ Griffin is. And he even said it, listen, in my opinion, it's not just because it's my guy. He thinks he's an absolute pro. Just has those little things that you can't teach a player. Forget about the body, forget about the pedigree. You know, it's part of it. You come from a family that was full of college athletes and a dad who played in the association. But between him and RJ Davis, when you have two of your best players who get in there hours before a game, hours before practice, still just want to shoot around, that's just the difference. You know, Toussaint is one of those guys as well. He comes up short as they trail by 11. Catch and shoot. Sanchez in the corner, and it clinks right off the rim. But a long rebound gets to Davis. Fires one downstairs. Griffin, now Davis. Into the lane, scoop shot. Oh, man. Count the bucket, and one. RJ Davis getting the oohs and ahs from this crowd. Look at that. So RJ Davis at the stripe and connects on the three-point play the old-fashioned way. Just his first 3 points tonight, but made sure you remembered it. Sumaro missing from the corner. Cisse the rebound. Now Smith, top of the key. Tries the bounce pass and was intended for Fuller. That was wide left. Jalen Murray returns to the floor. We heard Amanda talking about what Joe Lodes said before, just playing a little bit tight. Of course, he just wants his guys to continue to hustle, continue to play out. Never bought into the whole, runs or games. He just wants to see sustained effort, 32 minutes. That's the one thing that he thinks is the strength of his group. Their sustained effort to play a full 32. On the putback, Davis is there after the Bangura miss. As he joked, and if you have ever listened to Joe Lodes speak or have had a chance to talk to him at some point, it is an absolute treat, an absolute pleasure. As Toussaint asking for a foul, and looked kind of close from my angle, I'll tell you that. On a three-pointer, but it was well short. But Joe Lodes saying, listen, sprinting's for college players, jogging's for old men like me. And he wants to see his guys sprint up and down the floor every given moment. Oh, good on the Griffin attempt. Again, first player in double figures in this contest. And Stepinac opening up a 16-point lead. Murray from the wing. Wide right. Also a foul. It will go against Shamani Fuller, who picks up his first. It also is the team's 8th, so RJ Davis shooting a 1-and-1. And Pat Massaroni is heated about something. I believe it was something with the timeout situation. Not everything seemed to be sorted out. So Davis at the line connects on the first. Davis is having interest from teams like Virginia, Indiana, Stanford, Cincy. Pitt's in attendance, Nova's in attendance, and that could be for Davis. It could be for a few guys out there. So after hitting the free throw, it's a 31-13 lead and a timeout called by Cardinal Hayes. And right now, Stepinac is doing essentially everything right. So you take a look at what this season was in terms of the scoring leaders, and we know a few of these names up here. RJ Davis was above everyone else and still missed some games this year. 25 points per contest, the high of 41 against Malloy, as we alluded to before. And Joe Toussaint also on that group, who is dropping in an average of 19 points per game. Still good enough to win the CHSAA Player of the Year honors. But Davis has a very bright future ahead. And over the last couple of games, is also averaging 31.5 per game. So you look at these first teamers, the two Champagne twins, along with Murray and Davis. And then, of course, the most valuable player, as I just said, Joe Toussaint. And also congratulations to Jorge Lopez out of St. Ray's, Coach of the Year honors. They had a real good season. But it was Cardinal Hayes who upended them in the Archdiocesan Championship game. Up by 5 at half. Sumaro's threes in the second extended the lead to 21. And they never looked back. Catch and shoot for Murray, clanks off the back iron. Offensive board, Toussaint short as well. Another offensive rebound. Inside, Fuller this time. Well, just slam it home. So third time's the charm. 31-15 the score. Tamani Fuller, the JV player last year, said it took him a little while. But Joe Lodes expected big things from him early. contested three from way downtown. AJ Griffin, hand in the face, so smooth. Murray stripped in the lane. They're gonna call a foul on it. Mangora's first. And the team's sixth. So Murray at the stripe, shooting a pair. Missed some free throws earlier. So looks a little bit out of sorts at the moment. But that is the guy, of course, that so many players and so many teams worry about. He goes 2 for 2 on this trip and cuts into the deficit. Under 4 to play in the half. Davis up the floor to Sanchez. Quick touch into the corner. Mangura no good from that corner, but Chemezi gets fouled at the left block. It goes against Adam Cisse. He will pick up his second personal. Team's ninth. Chemezi shooting a couple. Freshman team last year, just a sophomore. Already getting some MAC and A10 interest. Average a little under 5 and 6 per game. And banks in a free throw. Zilic will check back in. And 1 for 2 trips, rattles out. 35-17, 3.5 to go in the second frame. Toussaint, jump stop into the lane, got too far underneath the hoop, but Cisse there to try and put it back. No, third chance, this time he is fouled. Chemezi's first, team's 7th. Adam Cisse at the stripe. As Joe Loads calls him, the most under-recruited big guy in the history of the Catholic League. And that is Joe Loads at his best. But loves what Cisse has done in his time. Last year hurt his foot, limiting his minutes. Could have taken away from some of his recruiting looks, but as each game goes on, he says that just keeps piling up. He's picking up a new offer after a new offer. Has a lot of NEC and MAC schools looking at him. Could do that or could end up prepping for a year. Still not certain. Here's Griffin with 15 in the first, but that's going to be a push-off. So that picks up his second. Team's 8th, under 3 minutes to play, though. So after such a fast-paced open, slowed down a little bit as Toussaint picks up the ball into the front court. To Jalen Smith, averaging 5 points per game this season. And knocked out of bounds off the hands of Murray. Another tough break for Cardinal Hayes. We just feel at any given moment when Cardinal Hayes starts to get it together, they can make a really strong push. That's just the kind of team they are. A group that has defeated some of the best around, a 23-5 overall record. The losses, though, and mentioning some of these losses, besides the fact that they were close losses all year, all by 5 points or less, the first 2 came in triple overtime to Christ the King by 3, and then a 1-point overtime loss to St. Ray's. Toussaint was impressive in every one of those. Gets to the rack for another 2. Then a 3-point loss at Mount, a 3-point loss against South Shores, one of the better teams around, and then a 5-point loss against St. Benedict, a power of the Garden State. 15 on the timer here for RJ Davis and company. Spin move, pulling up for 17, no good. Toussaint, hard pass, Fuller, he's fouled and hits the deck hard. Shimani Fuller had a throwdown this past weekend in the quarterfinals that a lot of people saw if you looked on social media. Has that explosiveness at the rim on top of his 6'7" frame. Continue to put on more size and muscle. He's listed at $185 at the moment. Chimezie checks in, and Matt Brand takes a seat. One for two. And free throws have been an Achilles heel in this entire first half. 95 ticks to play in the second frame. Stepinac has led the entire way. Sanchez, 7 points thus far, while Davis also has 7. 5 on the timer, penetrates to his left, and good defense there by Jalen Smith. Up ahead to Sut, to the cup. Defense to offense, timeout, Stepinac. And the Cardinals fly up, bringing it back to 13. 30-second timeout is the call. As we look at this play one more time, just real good defense by Jalen Smith, called one of the best defenders in this entire league. And then Joe Toussaint does his thing. So back to a 13-point game. And that last bucket, by the way, got a nice little ovation as well. Joe Toussaint, now the all-time leading scorer in Cardinal Hayes history. A great career. Broadway Joe, as Joe Loads calls him. He said when he was an 8th grader, "Coach, I'm going to come play for you, and I'm going to win a city championship." And guess what? He did. In 2017, just their 3rd AA title, 5th overall. Long layovers between those double A's. 1944, 1990, and 2017. Davis inside and puts it home. Some contact there he wanted. He has 9 points now with 40 ticks to play. In traffic, Toussaint. Well, as everyone always says about him, his opposing coaches, his own coach, he knows when to take over a game when he's needed. And right now he is doing so and willing them back. Foul called. Loads doesn't believe it, neither does Toussaint. Bringing out some boo birds at Rose Hill. Toussaint's second. Team's 10th, so double bonus for the last 19.9. And Griffin misses the first, a 78% shooter at the stripe. Lowe's with a ton of experience as an assistant coach at Hofstra for Tampacora. Used to write letters to D1 coaches in his free time to be asked to take on as a grad assistant. And that's pretty much how he got his first jobs. Just a different cat, as they say. But has established this program as one of the powers, not just in the Archdiocesan, but in the entire city. So AJ 1 for 2, replaced by Bengora. Shot clock is off. Down by 14, one final possession. off the hands of Smith into the crowd. And it's been that kind of first half for this group, despite the late push. So still 3 seconds on the clock. And they got all their shooters out there. Davis, though, pulls up, NBA range, and hits off the front iron. That's the end of the second. So Archbishop Stepinac taking a 14-point lead over Cardinal Hayes into the locker room. 16 minutes in and 16 shy of returning to back-to-back city championships. Stay tuned, more at halftime upcoming in its HSS Game of the Week. Locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Stepinac leading Hayes by 14 at halftime in its HSS Game of the Week, the semifinals of the intersectional CHSAA. Dan Savarino here with you, Amanda Puglisi. Well, a lot of great Scholar athletes, obviously, in this tri-state, right, AP?
Well, Dan, listen, we've seen a lot of successes on the basketball court, and of course, when you look at our Scholar athletes, there certainly are a lot of successes and a lot of great stories on and off the field. And when I say fields, I mean track and field, and that is our latest Scholar athlete.
Suffolk County has an all-star high school volleyball team called the Elite Eight, and one of its members is our latest winner of the News 12 Scholar Athlete Award, sponsored by Bethpage Federal Credit Union. She's Northport High School senior Sydney Rome. That's Sydney with an IE in her name and all-state honors on her resume. She was the league MVP with more than 200 kills and 100 digs. Sydney also digs track, but not just one event. She likes all different ones. She's all-county in the pentathlon and the heptathlon. She runs the 200 meters in 27 seconds, throws the javelin 90 feet, and is an all-county long jumper of more than 17 feet. Her coach calls her a track junkie. Sydney says she likes the challenge of being able to do it all.
I really love competing. I get a little bit of an adrenaline rush before my events. But I definitely think in long jump and hurdles and even high jump, it helps when you're a little bit more hyped up and you're ready to go.
She has a good way with her teammates and everything. So it's great that they just follow her. And I usually do that, take some of the freshmen and kind of corral them towards her so that they know what it takes to to be good.
And those kids should pay attention to how Sydney works in the classroom, too. She has a 4.0 GPA and scored 1430 on the SAT. She loves math, science, and photography. Here's some of her work. Sydney's won 2 regional Gold Key Awards and a Silver Key in a scholastic competition for her photographs. And like all of our winners, Sydney gets a $1,000 scholarship from Bethpage Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Marr.
Well, from the volleyball courts to track and field, you never know where our Scholar athlete is going to take you. But here on the basketball court at Fordham University, Stepinac leads Cardinal Hayes 38-24. But before we get to more basketball, here is the HSS Tip of the Week.
Today's tip is specific to female athletes. Girls are at a higher risk of ACL tears and should tailor their workouts differently to reduce the chance of injuries. Your exercises should activate your hips and external rotators to build your strength in your lower body and reduce strain on the knee. Make sure you work your upper body as well. ACL support is important, but you should always maintain balance in your training regimen.
Hospital for Special Surgery, #1 in orthopedics for 9 straight years. Learn more at hss.edu.
Lots of fans coming on out to Fordham to catch this semifinal. Good crowd on hand. 14-point lead for Archbishop Stepinac over Cardinal Hayes. Well, if you're just joining us, let's check out some of the highlights from that first half of action. And Stepinac able to open up as much as a 19-point lead in that half off of some really good shooting, like that guy as well. That's A.J. Griffin, who had 16 points. But Joe Toussaint willing his group back. 14 points overall, 5 rebounds, also became the leading scorer in Cardinal Hayes history with one of those buckets in the second. But the 3-ball, well, that was flying on both sides. Neither team really shot the ball that great, but Archbishop Stepinac still 4 of 13 compared to the 0 for 6 on the other end. And they were good on the interior as well. Both sides, actually. Here's Sumaro, who took a nice little move to the cup. And then R.J. Davis with maybe the play of the game at the moment. Such an acrobatic move with the finish, N1. Hit the N1 opportunity for his first 3 points. Another end, Shimani Fuller. He got going late as well, but this NBA range 3 knocked down as A.J. Griffin showing off to all those scouts what he can do. Joe Toussaint brought it back within, well, lower towards the double digits. They got close to about 13 points, but Stepinac just started to pull away in that second frame. A few turnovers as well, and that's where we are at a 14-point game. See some of the stats there. Stepinac +3 on the glass, blocks as well. Free throws, though, 6 of 13. That is a big no-no for Cardinal Hayes that they want to correct going in to the third quarter and fourth. And something we heard from Joe Lodes even say, our guys playing a little too tight, told them after the first. And that's exactly what we saw. They started to calm down in the second, and that's what got it back to the score it is right now. We come back, we'll start the third quarter here in the intersectional semifinal CHSAA basketball. And it's live only on News 12 Varsity. It's Averino back here at Fordham University. 14-point game as we get ready to start the third quarter. Well, my partner this evening, Amanda Puglisi, she had a chance to chat with the coaches.
Well, Dan, when you look at the stats there, Cardinal Hayes was 0 for 6 from beyond the three-point line, and Coach Massaroni of Stepinac says that was key for his team. And going forward in the second half, they're really going to have to just contest those three-point shots. And offensively, he says it's really just about Davis and Griffin getting as many touches as they can. And when I spoke to Coach Lodes, he acknowledged that, hey, we did not shoot as well as we normally do. He said, I like the shots we're taking, but again, we just have to keep shooting because eventually they'll fall. And you know Coach Lodes, he always likes to have a little joke in there, and he says maybe we'll have better luck this time on the other basket.
Well, maybe so, as Cardinal Hayes going from left to right here in this half. Gold uniforms trimmed with the maroon and white, and their lineup comes out as their starting lineup as well, with Cisse in the front court, Sumaro, Smith, Murray, and Toussaint. For Stepinac, who are in those road blue uniforms with red numbers and white trim, it is R.J. Davis, A.J. Griffin, Fizelich, Chemezi, and Brand. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Smith to the corner. Here's a three-pointer. Sumaro gets their first 3 of the game. So just as they were talking about that 0 for 6 at halftime, first shot of the third, and it drops from the corner. So back to 11. And as Sumaro now has 6 points in the game. Brand to Davis, left elbow extended, nothing but net. He's now in double figures, third player on the court to do so. Of course, these two teams who know each other so well, Coach Massaroni, Coach Lodes, both very friendly with one another, have a very good relationship. There's a great respect amongst the teams. Times that happen when you play each other, 3 times in a season, and you're as good as you are consistently. Cisse is going to head to the stripe. It goes against Chemezi, his second. Team's first. But even last year for Stepinac, being able to defeat a team like Cardinal Hayes, that was a big deal for them. That was a huge deal for them. And they just keep trying to tack off those milestones year after year as Cisse goes 0 for 2 at the line. And if you look at taking down some of these milestones, 2016, their first championship game appearance in the Archdiocesan since 1986. Then last season, they won a national tournament in December of that year. First time they've ever done that. They won 20 games. They never done that either. Then they won their first Archdiocesan title since '84. Their first New York City title since 1960. And then the first ever Federation Championship in Stepinac Crusader history. So it just goes to show you how this program has changed and continued to excel over the years. The Cardinal Hayes always knocking on the door. Here they turn it over, 43-27, and it's Crusader basketball with R.J. Davis up ahead, 11 points in the game. In the 2 games thus far in the CHSAA intersectional playoffs, as Adrian Griffin drops it from the right block. RJ Davis, 31.5 points per game, shooting 54% from the field. Meanwhile, Griffin averaging 32.5, 14 rebounds, and another 4 assists per game. Foul against Davis, his second. It's also the team's second. Jalen Smith to inbound the basketball. Murray's also been pretty quiet in this game, just 2 points overall. As Toussaint steps out. Chemezi, good defense and arms up the entire way. Now Murray was 0 for 6 at halftime. Still looking for his first field goal of the game. It's a guy who averages 19 points a contest. First team honors as well. An empty-handed possession the other direction as RJ and AJ on the same page. But Murray still hasn't hit a field goal. Sumaro has 6 points, which is just a little below his season average of 7. Offensive foul. They're gonna get Cisse on this one for a moving screen. That's a big one too, that's his third. And they just lost one of their best rebounders for a little bit of time as Cisse has to head to the bench. It'll be Shimani Fuller coming on to replace him. Stop and pop from the stripe, and it is true. Another RJ Davis bucket. 13 in the contest for him. Smith either lost a handle on the ball or maybe that was a pass. I think he just lost it. Fislich to Griffin, hitting the deck hard, but Cardinal Hayes still has it. Murray, his first field goal, and it comes with 4:18 to go in the third quarter. They didn't get their first field goal of this game until under 4 minutes of the first quarter alone, which is remarkable to think. Adrian Griffin, 23 points now in the contest. Battling injuries this year, has played just 14 games overall. Sumaro from the corner, it's good. And now some extracurriculars as guys have to be pulled away. Toussaint and Fislich. So they're gonna sort things out here. And would not be surprised if you end up seeing a technical foul. Kind of just got tangled up underneath the hoop. Tim Phillip, associate head coach for Cardinal Hayes, blasting at the officials, wanting a tech for that whole play. Trying to say it was Fislich who started it. Joe Carbasoni, Jay Kijik, and John Kelly. 3 in the stripes this evening as the 2 head coaches will come over to the table and get an explanation. And if we can get a better one too, we will. Oh, just talking about the respect between the 2 opponents. There is a respect, but there is also a, I don't want to say disrespect, but there is also a competitive nature between these guys in a playoff game. And this is not hockey. You can't just drop the gloves and move on. So there are repercussions that come from this. It is a double technical, but they are offsetting penalties. So offsetting fouls. It goes against Toussaint as well as Fizlich. So that puts Toussaint at his third personal foul. Fizlich picking up his first. And there's a technical foul called, but it's going to be against the bench. Either Lowe's or Tim Phillip, not sure, did not like the call. We said it was Phillip who was yelling before. So 2 shots upcoming for RJ Davis. And things are getting a little testy here at Rose Hill Gym. However, both teams bringing in some good fans. Fairly close to our location and the 8 o'clock start time. So Davis hits both technical free throws. So after 2 offsetting fouls, technical fouls that is, and then a technical foul 2 minutes later called against the Cardinal Hayes bench, we play on into the backcourt, and Davis will work against Smith. Smith considered one of the best defenders around. That's why he gets the matchup with Davis there. But Fuller gets the turnover. Toussaint gets the ball and puts it in the hole. That was after Smith saved it on the near side. Timeout called. Stepinac, 30-second timeout. And they had to, feeling some of that pressure. 51-34 our score. 3 minutes and change to go here in the third quarter. Dan Savarino, Amanda Puglisi with you. Thanks so much for joining us. If you missed the first semifinal, it was Christ the King from start to finish. Up in the mid-20s for the majority of the game, up at 21 actually after 3 quarters. As they upend the Brooklyn Queens champions, Bishop Laughlin. So Christ the King, they return to the championship game. They will play Sunday against the winner of one of these 2 teams. Christ the King playing in their 11th city final appearance in the last 14 years, while these 2 groups are the champions of each year respectively. So Sunday is going to be a great afternoon of basketball here from Rose Hill. And David Resnick will bring you all the sights and sounds as he has a front row seat to it. Davis, but the foul's going to be on him. It's a push-off. So that's big. Also puts Davis at 3 with still 3 minutes to go in a third. Smith picks it up at the Fordham Ram logo. Toussaint to the basket. They're saying hands-up defense. Fuller misses on a couple of chances. Bounced around and then pinballed into the hands of Griffin, who takes a blocking foul on Smith. Jalen Smith will pick up 1 here. That will be just his 2nd. Team's 4th. So an inbound right in front of us. It'll be Sanchez to do so. And he gets the ball to Davis. A very physical third quarter, to say the least. Sanchez behind the back dribble, showing off some of his handles. Gets it back to their guy in Davis, the floor general of this group. Sanchez tries to float it inside, stolen away by Toussaint, intended for Griffin. Toussaint down the left lane, in traffic. Joe Toussaint hitting the deck afterwards with some contact, and timeout call by Stepinac. Joe Toussaint, 16 of the 36 for Cardinal Hayes, and let's watch this one again. The Hawkeyes of Iowa are gonna love this guy. He is a gamer, to say the least. When talking to Joe Loads about Toussaint, he was saying, just reminiscing when he took a picture and posted it after, of course, for senior night, and looking back on the 4 years, said, when I look at him from freshman year to now, the size he has put on, how much he has grown. He now has facial hair. I feel old. But he has been that guy. He's just so tough and helps this blue-collar team. You know, Joe Load says there aren't stars on this group, a lot of blue-collar guys, but I think there's a few stars wearing those gold uniforms. Joe Toussaint, Broadway Joe, he's one of them. So out of the timeout, it is Stepinac with basketball from right to left. The chant of defense, defense. And you hear those sounds, they're coming from the Cardinal Hayes bench. 2 minutes to play in this erratic third frame. Skip pass to Sanchez, catches it, gets inside, Griffin. 2 men on him, fade away from the baseline, no. Last touched off of the guys in gold. So fresh timer as Matt Brand comes on. Brand, who's getting some looks himself to play either college basketball somewhere, either Division I or Division II. Then Brand and Vizilic, as Massaroni has said, been a difference maker. Well, Shivani Fuller has been a difference maker since Adam Cisse went to the bench. Fuller with a huge jam, and it's back to 13. With under 90 seconds to play, Hayes looking to get it back, potentially to single digits. Need a stop here, and Fuller blocks Griffin. I think there's a foul coming. There is. It goes against Samaro, his second, and the team's fourth. Stays on the floor, but another fresh timer. Sanchez weaves through the lane, stops, but that's a travel. So $1:16 to go. They can go 2 for 1 here, obviously. Which essentially is the plan. An opportunity to possibly get it back to single digits going into the fourth. Toussaint to the cup. Flexing those muscles. 18 for the player of the year. Griffin from 14 out, the response. Still a minute to go. Toussaint the other direction. It falls. And the Hayes faithful is loving it. Back and forth we go. The Stars are out in Fordham. 3 from the corner. Vizilic, no. Davis, the rebound and the foul. But that is Toussaint's 4th. A huge foul at this point in the basketball game. So playing with 4 personal fouls and just 8 minutes and 39 seconds left in regulation time. The guy who has willed this team back into the contest has to take a seat. 20 points. He'll sit for at least the remainder of the third. Smith right on top of Davis. Davis weaving through the baseline, smacked away by Fuller, but a foul called. It's Smith picking up his 3rd personal. And Fuller getting a discussion after that block, after the whistle. Davis sinks the first. Van Goor returns, so does Sunil Fong. Who did not get a chance to bring up before, but Fong, real glue guy for this team, a Butler football commit. Where's number 10? He stands in the backcourt, but guess who also returns? Joe Toussaint. One more shot for the guy who wears 1 in the navy blue. He sinks it 17 in this contest. A 13-point lead once again. Toussaint being hounded by Fislich. And those two already called for offsetting technical fouls. That's one of the reasons why Toussaint is now playing with 4. Yo-yoing the ball right at the Fordham logo. 15 on the timer. And just milliseconds in the differential. 5 seconds. Toussaint. Sumaro, catch and shoot. He's fouled. I looked a little short coming out, but you knew if that one went, the place would have erupted. But now Sumaro gets an opportunity to shoot 3 at the line, so he could bring this back to a 10-point game going into the 4th. Sinks the first 2. Couple of subs. Sanchez returns for Stepinac, and Brian Adams, the junior, comes on for Hayes. Sumaro 3 for 3. It is a 10-point basketball game. 1 second to go. A big heave for Griffin and hits the backboard. Had a good look at it from nearly 3/4 of the court. The Cardinal Hayes gets an ovation walking off. They get it back to a 10-point basketball game. Don't go anywhere. 4th quarter upcoming on the HSS Game of the Week. Locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby, and the best is yet to come. Welcome back to Rose Hill Gymnasium in the Rose Hill section of the Bronx. 4th quarter intersectional semifinal. Christ the King has punched their ticket, and now Stepinac and Cardinal Hayes look to do the same with just 8 minutes to go. Dan Severino also here with Amanda Puglisi, who's inside the huddle.
Well, Dan, anyone that knows Coach Loads knows that he has with him a little card, and that's where he has all of his plays. And he's got a lot of plays to choose from. He was looking at the card there right before the start of this quarter. He put it in his pocket, and he said to his team, I'm putting the card away. We're just going to play basketball. Go out there, have some fun. But we got to dig in. He said, we won that 3rd quarter. We need to win this 4th quarter.
And as many always joke about those play calls, they run more sets than basically anybody in the Catholic League. Massaroni jokes all the time. How do you get guys to remember that? Well, here they go. Have some fun. Under 8 minutes to go and season on the line. And an off-ball foul. It looks like it is against Fislich. So Fislich picks up his 2nd. All the way to the backcourt. Samaro's 3 free throws brought it back to 10 after 3 frames of play. Toussaint has 20 points. A.J. Griffin has 25 and 11 rebounds. Another 17 from R.J. Davis. But that is the 11th turnover against Cardinal Hayes in this game. And it proves to be a big one. Rebounding battle is +6, including 18 defensive rebounds for Stepinac And as Coach Massaroni says, the possession does not end until you get the defensive board. They've done that tonight. Griffin, stop and pop, continues on this game high. Murray, what a bucket, and a 30-second timeout called by Joe Lodes. Murray now 3 of 10 shooting overall in this game, where he was held without a field goal through the first half of action. Guy who averages 19 a game, second leading scorer. Let's take a look at this one more time. Penetrating straight to the rack. And finishes with the reverse. So back to 10. A lead that was as large as 20 in the third. In a game that Stepinac has led for all but the 27 seconds, we were tied at zeros in a scoreless basketball game. Just the history between these two teams in the last number of years, and in the last few, they have been staples reaching the semifinals in this game. 6th semifinal for Cardinal Hayes in the last 7 years. The one year they did not qualify at that point was 2016. They reached the quarters. Stepinac, it is their 3rd consecutive year playing in this basketball game, winning last year's, of course. A foul is called against the Crusaders, and it goes against number 21 in Griffin. So Adrian Griffin's 3rd. And Griffin, first game back after injury, wasn't until Iona on February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. As Jalen Murray is starting to heat up here in the second half. Foul called against Hayes. I believe this is Sumaro. It is. Sumaro picking up his 3rd. So Hayes again playing in foul trouble. Toussaint has 4, Sumaro has 3, so does Cisse, as well as Smith. So Davis shooting a couple of free throws. This is a 1-and-1 opportunity as it puts them in the bonus. Also see a bigger lineup with Sunil Fong and Manguera coming back onto the court. This team down the stretch, they're making their shots, they're rebounding, they're defending. That's what has helped them reach this point of the season and starting to play better at this point of the year. Davis 2 for 2. Murray just 2 points in that first half. And he now has 10 in the second. That's the last guy you want to start to heat up if you are Stepinac. Davis pulling back for a triple. Oh boy. RJ Davis, 22 now in the contest. And 62 of the 49 have come from Davis and Griffin. And Jalen Murray says, give me a 3, I'll show you one even better. Knocked away. Sumaro to the cup. And Griffin was there in traffic. Vizlic with the held ball upcoming. The possession arrow is in favor of Hayes. But check that, they're not calling a held ball. It is actually a foul call. My mistake. The way it looked like the tie-up, it seemed that was bound to happen. Sumaro, 4 fouls. Vizlic sinks the first. It has been his defense, he and Matt Brand, that have probably stepped up the most. Yeah, he can shoot the basketball from deep. but the D he has played has been huge. And he has had a good battle. Originally expected to potentially be on Murray. Ended up getting Toussaint on an adjustment as Fuller gets denied. Smith inbounds all the way to the backcourt where Murray has to grab it. Into the front, pulls up, 3 ball, count it! 18 in the game, 16 in the half. Ice in that sophomore's veins. Davis, count it, and 1. Back and forth we go. And for a 3-possession basketball game, which does not feel like it by any means, this is just continuing to live up to the hype. Hayes needs a run, though. They got 5 minutes to do so, and they trail by 10. Murray. Little heat check, and it's an air ball, which gets some nods from the crowd. Ed Sanchez returns. Van Gura also on for Fong. Well, Stepinac considering the way that season started as Smith steals the ball away. Murray drives to the far corner. Cardinal Hayes looking to make the most of this possession and back to single digits. Toussaint, step back for 3, he's fouled. Had a good look at the hoop. Your CHSAA Player of the Year at the line. An opportunity to get back to 7. 20 points in this game. Now 21. Heading to Iowa next year, and one of the greats to come through this program. Definitely on a Mount Rushmore. Named the all-time leading scorer after a bucket tonight. He goes 2 for 3 though. Grimaces as he runs back on defense. However, it's back to an 8-point basketball game. Still a lot of time to play. Neither team in a good foul situation. Deep 3 for Davis, clinks right off of the front. Toussaint, Sumaro, 3 ball, count it. Timeout Cardinal Hayes, and listen to this crowd. Well, in this second half, this guy has pushed them back. Jalen Murray, 16 points in the second. He's been connecting from downtown. He's been pulling up for 3. He's been creating off of the dribble. And now it's a 5-point basketball game. Correction, timeout was called by Stepinac. So they have just 1 timeout remaining. Cardinal Hayes has 2 for the last 4 minutes. If you are just joining us, this is a much different game than it was to start. I will tell you that. Early on, Cardinal Hayes couldn't hit water. They couldn't hit anything from downtown in the first half. 0 for 6. They shot just 32%. They were just 3 of 14 in the first. They didn't hit their first bucket until more than 4 minutes into the basketball game. But the second half, they have willed their way back after a 14-point deficit at halftime and a 10-point deficit after 3 quarters. Down by 5, and a trip to the City Intersectional Championship on the line this Sunday. Griffin's been good all evening, but misses on a 15-footer. The rebound, Vizelic, and a foul. It goes against Sumaro, and that will also foul him out. Remember, Tucson also playing with 4 personal fouls, but Sumaro has fouled out of the basketball game. Didn't even realize it. I think he thought he was playing with just 3. 15 points for him, and had some huge threes in this second half. So they have lost possibly their best 3-point shooter of this game. And now they go big once again. They're going to go with Cisse and Fuller in the lineup as once. Vizelic hits the first. The front end of this 1-and-1. Six points, 6 rebounds for the guy who didn't play in the first 7 games and started in this contest making an impact. Toussaint up the floor, looks for Cisse, bobbled, an empty-handed possession. And a 7-point basketball game, which allows Davis to take his time across the floor. Griffin. Little crossover move. Vizelic pulling back for a 3. Dials up the long distance call, and it connects. 10-point basketball game. Still more than 3 to play. Toussaint with his 22. Murray with his 18 in the game. Takes the screen. Still handle, spin move, the runner. Doesn't matter, travel. Real bright future for Jalen Murray going forward. He is this team's future. Already a lot of interest and offers. Interest from some high majors, Big 12 schools, etc. Griffin with 27 points in this game, 11 rebounds, pulls back for a 3 from the wing. Splash down, A.J. Griffin, 30 points. Look at this one again. Adrian Griffin, a 40% shooter from downtown, a guy who didn't come back until Iona. Didn't have his first real breakout game until Monsignor Scanlon on the 6th, where he had 43 points and 14 rebounds. In the 3 intersectional playoff games, he's been averaging over 30 points a game and has had a double-double in each. However, he just picks up his 4th. .13-point game. 2 minutes to go Toussaint to the cup, and blocking foul is the call. And you can just feel the Hayes fans holding their breath as Toussaint already playing with 4. Goes against Sunil Fong, his second. It also puts both teams in the double bonus for the remainder of this contest. Toussaint 23 points. And as a senior, has already delivered a championship once as a sophomore. Now he hobbles slightly, running back onto defense after making the free throw, but you know he's not coming out. The lead is 11 for Stepinac. Davis yo-yoing around, brings it to 90 seconds on the game clock. Here in front of his own bench. Cuts up ahead, stops and pops from the stripe, no. The rebound was grabbed by Adams, and also a foul is called against, looks like Davis. That is the call. So Davis now has 4. Adams at the line. Averaged 4 points per game off the bench this season as a junior. Still looking for his first tonight. And this will stay at least double figures. One for 2 trip, 10-point basketball game. Last touched off of Murray. It's those 2 sophomores, and they're gonna have a good battle for years to come, Murray and Griffin. You don't even want to say the future of this league because they're still what this league was this year. Jump ball, and arrow in favor of Hayes. Sunil Fong returns. Wanting a little more defense here down the stretch. Down 10, minute 10 to go. Toussaint gets denied. Fuller gets the ball though. Smith looking inside for Fuller, and it's turned over into the hands of Davis. Up to Griffin. Sprints up the near side of the court and gets bumped by Brian Adams. 2 shots. So this essentially can ice the game going forward. That's just the feeling you're getting. For Stepinac this year overall, the schedule they played, they had multiple weeks where they had 5 games in 8 days. They were playing some of the best competition in the entire nation. Black and blued all year long. Target on their back. State champions winning the Federation. Nice little heave from Smith is no good. Saved by Fuller, who falls into a chair at his own bench. Seems to be all right. 7-second differential between the shot clock and game clock, so Stepinac will just dribble this out. Most likely take the shot clock violation, and that's it. A season where right now, coming in 13 and 15, you would kind of be surprised with all the injuries they have faced this year, all the adversity they have battled. They are playing some of their best basketball over the last 14, 15 games, and here they're going to empty the bench. Those guys can get an ovation. falling in the semifinals to St. Raymond's of the Archdiocesan Championship. So that was one that wasn't going to come back. But they will remain champions for at least one more game. The defending champs have a chance to repeat this Sunday against Christ the King. Stepinac 77, Cardinal Hayes 65. Well, that's the final, and stay with us. There's still plenty more to come on News 12 Varsity, our HSS Game of the Week. Locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Don't go anywhere. Well, we will have a rematch of the intersectional final from last year. Stepinac and Christ the King, and a big reason why in this Stepinac win. Amanda Puglisi standing by with Adrian Griffin.
AJ, how much of a target on your back did you guys feel like you've been playing with all season long?
Well, we knew just from the start, from the beginning of the season, we were going to have a target on our back. Our coach always told us that even though we came out to a slow start in the season, we just knew that we'll come back together in the playoffs.
You guys didn't come out to a slow start in this game, and actually defensively you held Cardinal Hayes to just 6, or they went 0 for 6 for 3-pointers, but that third quarter, pretty physical. So how were you able to keep your cool on that one?
I just keep on telling my teammates, just they score, we score. And we just got to keep our distance and keep the lead and keep it at like a 10-point range and just stay positive throughout the whole game, because they're always going to have a run and we're going to have a run. We have to stay composed.
So a little bit of a redemption tour for you guys today. You knock off Cardinal Hayes. Next up, though, it's Christ the King. What are your thoughts on them in the championship game?
I mean, we just had to come out and play defense just like any other team, just to get prepared, and that's what we've been doing the whole playoffs. So we just had to stay prepared, and we'll feel confident. Yeah.
All right, AJ, good luck in that game.
Hey.
All right, Dan, back to you.
AJ Griffin finishing with 32 points, 11 rebounds, also had a steal and a couple of blocks, 11 of 14 shooting, and perfect from downtown in this game. Well, guess what? His counterpart, RJ Davis, good teammate over there, 25 points, and he had our News 12 Varsity play of the game. This was back in the first half. Little scoop shot. Count the bucket and one. First 3 points that he ended up scoring, so he hit the N1 bucket of his 25 in this 77-65 win for Archbishop Stepinac over Cardinal Hayes. A game where they were up as much as 20 wire-to-wire win, got back to about 5 in the last couple of minutes of the game, but they just put on the foot on the pedal and kept moving on, and now they will move on and face Christ the King this Sunday. Well, many thanks to everyone, as always, here at News 12 Varsity, and of course to you, the viewers, for joining us on this Thursday evening for a hoops doubleheader from Rose Hill Gymnasium in the Rose Hill section of the Bronx. For our producer Brian Butler and Amanda Puglisi, I'm Dan Savarino saying thanks so much for joining us this Sunday. Christ the King, Archbishop Stepinac, 3 p.m., the HSS Game of the Week, all for the marbles. A chance to potentially repeat for Stepinac or Christ the King, getting their first championship since 2014. It's in a broadcast on News 12 Varsity. We'll catch you this upcoming Sunday.